We back. The podcast is back, guys. Welcome back.
Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Tommy.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Matt. It's been like 3 weeks, hasn't it, Tommy?
It
3
has.
weeks.
Exactly
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
It feels longer, though. It feels longer since we've been in this glorious
I missed it.
cupboard.
We've missed the sweatbox.
We are going to move, hopefully, from this cupboard eventually.
No, it's all a lie.
This is a transition phase. This is our office.
How long do you think we can get away with... Whoa, making
Nice.
noise. How long do you think we can get away with saying it's a transitional phase before people stop believing us?
3 to 6 months before
Yeah.
bankrupt comments come
Okay.
in, and this is our office. It's not, I promise. This video is actually sponsored by YasMoments Circuit, so thank you to them. They're giving away 2 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix tickets. Nice. 3-day grandstand tickets, including Thursday public pit lane walk, concerts, etc. What does etc. mean? What do you reckon etc. means?
Just
Do they-
everything
do they-
else that a
Everything.
Grand
Everything.
Prix, apart from maybe...
Driving.
Yeah,
The
don't
cars.
think we can get you in the car quite.
Sorry.
But,
Right.
they're being
never
pretty
know.
generous with everything else, so...
They're generous.
Toro Rosso
generous
might be
peeps.
feeling generous.
Yeah,
Toro
if there's a
Rosso.
drive going, maybe.
Yeah.
So all you have to do to actually win these 2 Grand Prix tickets is comment below with your hashtag YasMoment. So what we mean by Yas moment is your favourite moment of the race, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And also like the video.
You mean
So if you
Yas.
don't,
I mean,
we will find you.
yes.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to go Yas. That's about as much sass as I fancy giving this morning. But yeah, so just comment your favourite moment or your hashtag Yas moment. Oh God, that kills me every time. To put in the comments, and then that's cool. I want to hear your Yas moments. So let's just go in. Hashtag Yas moment. What's yours, Jess?
Definitely the Force India's sandwiching Vettel and Hamilton. That was like...
Yeah, I shouldn't have asked you first because that was the only Yas moment I think in the entire race.
Well, I stole
Nice,
it. So
nice.
that's my ass moment. Because, yeah, I mean, what a moment. I think those guys just had such a stellar weekend. And it was really exciting to watch them get right up in the mix. Obviously, it didn't last very long. But
So close. Ocon nearly got there.
Oh my
That would have
God.
been awesome.
When I saw Ocon move to the inside, I was like, no way. I knew it was going to end in an absolute catastrophe if he did go for
Yeah.
it, but I wanted him to kind of do it.
Yeah.
Just to be in the lead for
Explosion.
at least a second. What about you, Tommy? What was your hashtag Yas
Mine
moment?
would definitely be the enthralling battle between Hartley and Marcus Eric.
The 2 greatest
I
drivers
mean,
in Formula 1.
We put it on our Twitter. The battle we wanted was Hamilton versus Vettel, and we got Hartley and Marcus Ericsson. You can't have it all.
No,
but
you
fair
can't.
play to them. That
They
was
went-
an entertaining battle of
Yeah.
the medium giants.
The medium giant.
Medium.
Don't even know what I'm chatting on about
Yeah,
today.
neither of those are applicable probably.
Well,
I mean,
no, they're kind of, mutually exclusive. You can't be medium and a giant.
Good. Okay. Keep drinking that coffee,
This
Jess.
podcast is going well.
My hashtag Yas moment was okay. I know. I've thought of one. Bottas going around the outside of. Was it Hartley?
It was Hartley.
It was Hartley again.
Through Eau Rouge and up round the outside at Radion. Yeah. So that was a pretty awesome little move from him. I know obviously it's on a slower car, but like to go around the outside of anyone up that hill is ridiculous.
So basically what we can ascertain from this is that 2 out of 3 of our moments included Hartley. So
And
surely
Ali's not even here.
Ali's. Yeah.
he must be driver of the day.
Okay. Let's not.
So we can
let's not
finish
get
the
ahead-
podcast
skip
now.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. I know we've covered pretty much the entire Belgian Grand Prix in
Is
the
there
first
much
5
more
minutes.
to
But okay, so we've had our Yas moments. Let's go into 3-word race reviews as we always do. Tommy?
Mine is you've done it quite well actually because
Thank
mine is
you.
no more DRS.
What do
And
you
I
mean I've
think-
done it? What?
Well, you've led in quite nicely because of the Bottas
Thanks.
move. I was thinking that's awesome that he took him there, whereas every other Bottas move and every other move was a very easy kind of
DRS move.
motorway overtake.
Motorway overtake.
Yeah, just a bit dull.
However,
And
you did-
I'd like to see them get rid of it for Spa.
You just DRS completely.
Just for Spa.
Just get rid of
not the others.
DRS.
No, not
Completely.
just Spa.
Are you mad?
DRS. Get rid of DRS for Spa. Yeah,
Completely.
100%.
For Spa?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not needed.
Well, technically, actually, you told me this 3-word review before we went live, and no more DRS. Is that technically 5 words? Because DRS is drag reduction system, and that's an acronym. I don't know. Let's not get...
2 words in an acronym review.
What's your 2 words in an acronym review?
2 words in an acronym.
Yep.
I don't know.
It has to be that.
I can't think of anything. But you completely throw me off.
Every single podcast.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I don't know. Actually, mine
I
is.
think so. My one was great 4 laps, because that's pretty much the only thing that...
Did it last for 4 laps?
What, the action?
Yeah.
Pretty much before...
I guess the safety car, yeah.
The safety car restart was kind of the last moment of excitement, and then it was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to watch the race procession go on. So
no thanks to DRS. Just saying.
Okay, cool. My 3-word race review. Good. Hulkenburg, brake please. Because Charles Leclerc got taken out.
Yeah.
What a joke. Hulkenburg, I don't know what he was doing there. He just must have had a lapse of concentration. Like, what else could that possibly have gone wrong? Because, I mean, he himself didn't say there was anything wrong with the car or anything like that. So, to do that at turn 1 at Spa, of all the races where you can't outbrake yourself, especially when you're in the midfield pack, it was a ridiculous accident to have. And as a Formula 1 driver, where does Grosjean's race ban... I don't think Hulkenberg should have been banned. That's not going to be the title. But it was a hell of a dangerous incident to have, especially when you have Alonso, 2012-esque, although he was the car going over the top this time.
Yeah.
Which is quite scary, right?
It was interesting to hear, like, all the commentators were just saying, he must have had brake failure. Like, is that brake failure? Because nobody could quite believe that he'd overshot the braking point by that much.
Yeah.
So... yeah, it was completely like a bit, but I don't know if you guys like watched the build up and stuff, and obviously like we weren't there, so we can't really say. But to me, he just had this really weird demeanor about him. Like when they were interviewing, it was Lee Mackenzie. I was watching the Channel 4 version of the race. Coverage, whatever we want to call it. Words.
Their
this
take
morning.
on it.
I'll take any words this morning, to be honest. So Lee Mackenzie was like interviewing them in the drivers' parade, and he just had this like weird demeanor.
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
No,
I'm not ready.
Yeah,
he's still on holiday.
Yeah.
In Monaco somewhere. But yeah.
It was quite a lot of them were a bit race rusty, I guess, at the start.
There's
quite
there was
few
Bottas
clumsy.
steaming into the back.
Bottas hit someone. Ricciardo hit someone. Hulkenberg obviously sent someone to Narnia, to quote your old quote.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very weird lap 1. We've seen a lot of clean lap 1s this season, and you don't tend to see big crashes in lap 1 in general, anymore. And to see,
do we not?
Not as
Not as
hefty
much as we used to.
No, and I guess not as heavy as that. Like it's been a while since we've seen a car fly through the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, just strange.
Someone
strange
posted
moment,
in our Facebook group before the race, they were like, the last time Perez started 4th, this happened, and showed like the Spa 2012 thing, and it was like, ooh, it's Perez's fault.
So
yes, Perez starting 4th.
He's the omen.
Yeah.
But in terms of, just seeing like Bottas go into the back of Sorokin, that was weird. Then obviously Danny Rick obviously got hit from behind, had basically no rear wing, but he just accelerated into the back of Raikkonen.
Yeah.
That wasn't anything to do with his rear wing. That's him pressing the accelerator.
Yeah.
And it was just a weird lap 1, wasn't it, really? And
really weird.
It kind of threw everything in the end, kind of gave us less action because we had like 4 people out already, or 3 people out, including Charles. Let's touch briefly on the Charles kind of
Of course,
halo.
we're going to talk on Charles.
I mean, obviously, more about the halo and Charles. Oh my God, when's that guy going to get some luck, honestly? But the halo itself, there's people out there saying, oh, the halo didn't help him. Sorry? What? I mean, the fact that people are even saying, well, actually, it was 1 millimeter. If it had been 1 millimeter left, then maybe it would have helped him. But actually, there was something there. I don't know why I'm talking like this. This is Twitter. But, like, they're saying that those safety measures were already in place and the halo wouldn't have done anything extra. But to see an instant like that and have the halo there anyway.
I mean, you literally saw Alonso's wheel bounce off and break on that. You saw it was the best angle was the reverse angle, where you're kind of viewing it from Hartley, and you saw Alonso fly over the top, and his left front tyre hits the halo, and compresses, and it breaks the suspension. So clearly that was going straight for Charles.
I think the point is that it shouldn't be a difference of whether in that particular instance it helped or not. It's the fact that these kinds of accidents still happen, and 1 millimeter to the left or to the right, it doesn't make a difference. That's the difference between someone living and dying. So if there's something there that is going to protect whether it was a millimetre out, that's the end of the conversation. And I honestly don't know how people can still be saying that the halo doesn't provide any protection, just purely based on what you said. And I think they were showing, like when they showed close-ups of the Sauber afterwards, like you could see that, again, it was kind of difficult to see because you couldn't tell if it was just the tyre rub-off or whether the halo had actually cracked because it had taken the impact. But I mean, that's something else that the FIA is going to be looking at to see, you know, what kind of difference did that halo make. And until we see the report on that, we can't really know. But yeah, I think it's just the fact that, you know, after we've had the incidents with IndyCar, you know, those kinds of crashes and any kind of safety, introductions of safety is a good thing. And I don't think we should be berating it. Like, no. It's the fact that it's, you know, the difference between someone still being able to race and not.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, 12, 13 races now, and you know, if people haven't gotten over the transitional phase yet, you know, the first few races I was like, oh my god, this looks rubbish, but F1 are working around the camera angles and things, and for me, I'm over it, you know, I was over it a long time ago, and for people still hating, it's just a bit weird.
Especially when you get a really good race, you just forget, like, you completely forget about it. Yeah.
Someone actually said, I think I put on Twitter, like, I'd like any Halo haters to go and have a conversation with Charles Leclerc right now about whether the Halo is necessary or not. And actually, a lot of people said, is there even a debate about it anymore? Because I don't notice it. And also, if it's a good thing, then cool. But there are people supposedly out there that still haven't bought into it.
Well, screw them. Anyway, let's get on to some 3-word reviews from fans. Okay, so the first one, I'm sure a lot of people watching will know what a lot of people came in with. Tommy?
I might have to say, okay, that's Radeon, actually.
I need a bit more sass. Come on, give it just once. Just give it to me. Okay. Just
this podcast just
come on
weird.
now.
Come on,
not now.
I'm going to point to
I'll do it later.
Come on.
I
want sass.
That's Radeon, actually.
Okay, anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it was amazing to see such response from you guys. Obviously, everyone now is going, okay, it's a bit old now, but that's fine. Whatever. I know memes die. But
it was a funny weekend. It was amazing a funny weekend
to see. You had Formula One making a video to clarify. You had Will Buxton saying your phrase. How did that make you feel?
Warm inside.
Yep. And loads of people just spamming loads of Formula One drivers, Formula One teams, and it was a lot. Can
we just say we didn't ask people to do that?
We didn't ask anyone to comment anywhere, did we?
It just happened, and it was really funny, to be fair. So
So just thanks to everyone that got involved. Sorry for people that didn't enjoy it and just saw it everywhere on their timelines, but that's what memes happen, you know.
Even posts that didn't even have Radeon or Eau Rouge in. Yeah. It was just. That's Radeon, actually.
Although I did get triggered when people were saying that's Radeon actually at a picture of Eau Rouge. Please never do that again.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but that was nice. Anyway, moving on to some other ones. At Ibo.Vakaman, it's 2012 remastered. At Joel_Ackers_ Spa 2012 repeat. At T_Mark77, pretty much 2012. So quite a few people came in saying it was pretty much 2012, that start crash. What was interesting about that was the Times newspaper actually using a picture from 2012 with the wrong caption.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, to be fair, it was probably someone that hasn't watched F1 that's just typed Alonso Spa crash, seen a car flying in the air and gone, yep, that's it. And it was a McLaren as well. So it probably came up in the search.
Wasn't it a McLaren over a Sauber too?
It was a McLaren, over a Sauber. And what's worse, though, is at the bottom of that article was the actual picture of Alonso. Are you laughing?
Yeah.
And it said something like, Alonso flies over Leclerc's orange Sauber or something. Did you see that? It was so weird. So they got it right and then still got it wrong.
So they mentioned the 2018 one, but then just had the picture. For me, for those kind of things, like when they do that, I don't know if they're in it for the memes. Like, if the Times newspaper just sat there like, you know, it'd be quite funny if we put a 2012 picture. A lot of people will talk more about our article if we get it wrong.
Well, the BBC also said that Vettel was involved in the crash.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
The headline was like, Sebastian Vettel involved in lap 1 pile-up or something. And it's like, I'm pretty sure he was 3 seconds ahead by that point.
Jeez. And that's why you should go to WTF1.com for
please don't go and find every mistake we've ever made.
Yeah, please don't. Please.
Someone's scrolling through already.
Of course there are none. We don't make mistakes.
No, definitely not.
Shifty eye look.
What was interesting, actually, we spoke about the Hulkenburg incident and whatnot, was Alonso coming out and commenting on Hulkenberg's mistake, saying, yet again, a very big-time missed braking point. Last time Roman had a race ban, this time we'll see. It's hard to understand how you can miss a braking point that much. You arrive at a speed where it's impossible to negotiate the corner, which is true. He kind of braked at sort of qualifying sort of levels, which was a bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that, obviously he was kind of alluding to the fact that he deserved the race ban. Of course, he only got a 10-place grid penalty. When that happens, so for Renault, probably like, right, we'll just kit him out. We'll change all of his ERS, all those different power unit stuff. He'll start at the back, and will it really be that much of a penalty if they're getting new parts?
Not really.
But I mean, I don't want every podcast that we have to be a discussion about what the FIA should introduce in terms of like penalties. But I guess that is something that they need to look at and decide. Like, is there something else? Like maybe they can't bring an upgrade to the next race. Maybe that would be something that's kind of more punishing.
Or replace their power unit stuff so that they get a fresh batch.
Or maybe like once you take a penalty like that, then you can't then take another penalty for introducing new parts or new upgrades. But I don't know, like, I think until they sort that out, we're always going to have instances of, well, it's not really a punishment, or, I think ultimately that they're always going to want to be as high up the grid as possible for a race, especially when we're at this point, we're over the halfway stage, and there's a ton of points on the table to be had, but, whatever. And I think going back to the, Romain Grosjean, I think that wasn't that the year where he was just literally smashing into everybody.
Yeah, first lap nutcase, as Webber called him that year.
Yeah.
Because he, had many incidents like that. But I really was against that race ban, because even the FIA themselves said it was because it had championship implications, which that shouldn't come into it when you're smashing into someone, and that's why they banned him, because he caused a dangerous incident. But I mean, if he'd Hulkenberg could have quite easily just locked up, hit the back of Alonso and nothing. So is it more of a penalty just because Alonso then hit Leclerc and flew over his head? Like, it's not right.
No.
Yeah, we're always going to have debates over, what constitutes as a 10-place grid penalty, what's going to make up a race ban worthy incident, and that's the problem. Every incident's going to be different.
Yeah.
But the thing that I have the most problem with is if you upset the championship leaders, you get more of a punishment.
That was ridiculous.
Which is and what if should we have a 2012 scenario where we had numerous drivers able to win that championship? I think at that point as well, it was still pretty close for a few drivers. That where do you draw the line? Who's then not involved in the championship? Because surely everybody has the chance to win the championship up to a point. Sorry, Sir Ocon, not you, but
he was in it until
until when it was Belgian Grand Prix. Where do you draw the line? As you're not in contention for the championship, therefore you don't get as much of a penalty.
Yeah,
it's weird. I think they just need, as with 2021 new rule changes, I'd like the FIA to come through with some new penalty system
stuff.
Yeah,
it's always going to be a difficult one, because there'll be people arguing that it should be on a case-by-case basis and who was affected and how big the crash was, etc., but then at the same time you then have that wasn't fair, why did Vettel get this and why can I get this? And
also Bottas got a 5-second penalty after the race, but way after the race.
Yeah.
I think it was an hour after the race, and you just saw him run to the steward's office and then get a slap on the wrist for going into Ricciardo. Oh no, sorry, for going into the Williams.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit like, well, it didn't make a good difference, so okay. So I won't do it again. Bye. Literally,
5 seconds. Oh no.
Run up. You got 5 seconds. Okay. See you later.
Yeah.
That was literally it. But
yeah.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? New rules, please, FIA.
New rules. So obviously, at the start of this podcast, we've kind of touched on a few things because we haven't been done it for like a month, and we like talking about loads of different things. So, but let's touch on the Force India's weekend. Obviously, we talked about the whole four-wide moment, but more importantly was that, well, for me, because I'm an Ocon fan, and I think we all are actually, is that he doesn't have a race seat currently at Mr. Brownleg. Why does Ocon not have a race seat for next year yet?
So, on the grid though, before the race, they spoke to Toto Wolff, and Toto Wolff said he does have an F1 seat for next year. We just don't know where yet. As in, he said he has an F1 seat, what's not been announced is where that F1 seat's going to be. Now, I really hope it's not going to be in kind of a lesser...
It's going to be like a Williams or something.
A lesser team, because I think that's such a shame for such a promising young driver. If it was a straight-up swap for Stroll, that would be disappointing.
I think it would be McLaren, but there's not really anywhere he can go that is good, realistically. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, that for all the criticism that the Red Bull driver program gets, at least, you know, Gasly has proved himself in a Toro Rosso. There's a Red Bull seat available, and they give it to him. Whereas, you know, when Mercedes, when Hamilton decides to retire, are they going to give it to Ocon? Probably not.
Do you not think?
Well, look at Verline. Like, Verline was meant to get the Mercedes seat, and they didn't give it to him. And yeah, they don't promote drivers. Like, Ferrari don't Ferrari don't promote their drivers either. Like, it doesn't look like Charles going to get the seat next year either. So
yeah, but isn't that more of a case of Kimi staying rather than Charles not getting the seat? And wasn't there also talk about him going to Haas instead? And
we'll see.
Wasn't it? So again, like this whole mid-season driver shuffle has literally thrown everything up in the air. But you know, I was hearing rumors that Perez is signed with Haas for next year.
It's all over the place.
But then I've heard he's also like pretty much confirmed to be staying at Force India. Like, honestly, there's so much stuff. Like, anybody could end up anywhere.
I have never seen a season where, because if you think that Rosberg, when Rosberg retired, everyone was like, oh, he's going to shuffle the pack so much. And realistically, it didn't really do that. Bottas jumped up, Massa came back, that was it. Danny Rick has just started something insane. Like, every team apart from Ferrari and Mercedes could end up with a new driver lineup, which would be mad.
Which is awesome as well.
Which is cool,
yeah. Brings new life into the season and gives us a lot more to talk about in
Exciting.
terms of driver comparisons and seeing, you know, how does Hulkenburg match up to Ricciardo. And I can't wait for next season. I think it's going to be awesome. Obviously, I really hope Ocon does get a drive. As you say, there isn't a better drive available. McLaren, does he want to be in McLaren? Like, they're literally last on pace at the moment.
Yeah, I think he'll go there, though.
Which is the thing. Like, I mean, if you look like at people like Stoffel Vandoorne, watching him in F2, he was phenomenal. Like, miles and miles ahead of everybody else in F2. Such an inspiring young talent, and then look where he is now. And again, like, it's hard to say whether that's just because he's in a McLaren or whether it's he just hasn't adapted to F1 in the way that everyone was hoping he would. Because, you know, when we speak to the I don't want to say young F2 drivers, like some of them are very young, some of them are not so young, but the step up to F1 is huge. You know, in terms of how much, I mean, it was McLaren did an interview with Lando about how was it, because he literally had to sprint from finishing FP1 to then go into F2, and they were like, what was the difference like? And he was like, obviously you've just got used to a huge amount of downforce, huge amount of speed, and then you get into an F2 car that doesn't have as much, and it's like, how do you adapt to that? But you know, some drivers come through and they show that they were always meant to be in an F1 car, and others come through and they don't. And it's kind of, you know, do you want to end up in like a car that's not performing as well, like a McLaren or a Williams or something like that, or do you want to kind of sit and bide your time and wait for something like the Red Bull driver system is in disarray, right? Because no one has any super license points. And it's all kind of all over the place, and you know, people are talking about getting Jean-Eric Verne back and all that kind of thing. It's kind of, you know, where are they going to start looking now? Are they going to try and poach other people's drivers, or how do they fill? I mean, we put a video out about it, but how do Toro Rosso fill their seats? It's insane. And again, like, it was kind of touched on. I think Hamilton came out and touched on the fact that it shows that the F1 system is broken, and that if it's going to kind of promote people that have the money rather than people that have the skill, you know, how are young talent going to even stand a chance unless they've got, like, daddy's money?
Exactly.
It's an interesting time anyway.
It is,
yeah.
And it's still not shaped up yet.
And Ocon kind of broke the story that he's not got a drive and Perez has accidentally in French.
Which was hilarious, because him and Vettel just had a conversation on TV in French and thought no one was going to be able to understand what they said.
No one knows the French language. So let me tell everyone that didn't see this. So Vettel said next year, still nothing. Ocon says no. He says, will you be here at Force India? No. And then Ocon says, no, the seat is taken. Vettel, oh yeah, who? Ocon, have a guess. The one who bought it. Vettel, yes. But the other one? Ocon, well, the other one, Sergio Perez, brings money. So, interesting that Ocon himself has said, no, I don't know where I'm going. And Vettel, obviously, alluding still nothing in terms of, like, Ocon didn't go, no, but I'm probably going to get a seat. He just went, no. So, I think it's vital for Ocon in this driver market to get a seat next season, because otherwise he'll just could turn out like a Wehrlein. But at the same time,
that would be such a shame.
Yeah, but then again, like a lot of people hyped up Wehrlein, but if you actually were to compare him and Marcus Ericsson, there wasn't actually much between them. He just had the highlight performances, but then Ericsson's been hovering around the points for the last few races, and he doesn't get any kind of credit for that. And just quickly touching on Stoffel Vandoorne, obviously he's got a lot of stick. And he's literally gone into a team with someone that's rated as the best driver in Formula One by a lot of people. And to try and match up to a man that's been in Formula One for so many years is a tough ask. Obviously, he hasn't beaten him once, but put him in a car against Sainz, I guarantee he would beat him 4, 5, 6 times in qualifying and have a much better record. But he's literally up against Alonso, who, again, as I say, is rated one of the best. So is it a fair comparison, him being 1/10 off Alonso in qualifying?
And also we had Dan, our edited that brilliant article that was comparisons that show comparisons are rubbish.
Yeah.
And it's so true that if you say, oh, well, Hamilton beat Alonso, but then this guy beat this guy, and then it's like, who's better than who? You can't judge it just based on year to year. There's so many factors in F1, and that's kind of the interesting thing about Formula One, is that you never really know who the best driver is.
No,
and
that
can be quite
It's so
interesting.
down to them making the right decisions earlier on in their careers. You know, I don't think anyone who's like, no one would turn their nose up at being a McLaren young driver or a Mercedes young driver or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get into the best seat. I think, you know, there's been massive cases of fortune where it's played out perfectly, such as like a Lewis Hamilton scenario. Like, that couldn't have played out better for him. But then you have people like Stoffel, who if you'd have told him 10 years ago he was going to be driving for McLaren, he'd probably think he would be a title contender, not at the back of the grid.
Literally last.
So, you know, and that's kind of what we touched on about like the whole Alonso debacle about, you know, people came out, I forget who came out and said that he was an underrated driver. Was it Villeneuve? No, it wasn't.
Vandoorne?
No. Alonso. So they said Alonso was a overrated driver. Sorry.
Overrated.
I was going to say underrated.
Overrated driver.
I cannot remember. I remember seeing it though.
It was somebody like Villeneuve coming out with.
Oh
like,
yeah, good old Jacques. Yeah.
But it was kind of like, you know, and again, we've spoken about it before, but he made bad choices. So
yeah, he did.
That's why he's in the situation he is in.
Cut off connections, and you know, it was down to his demeanour as well.
Yeah. So I mean, thank God he's a talented driver, because who knows where he could have ended up.
Yeah.
But you know, some other drivers don't have that fortune, and they have to, which is why I'm really excited to see what Ricciardo can do at Renault, because if this is his Lewis Hamilton to Mercedes moment, it could be massively exciting for the F1 grid in general.
Yeah.
Just Renault needs some brawn magic, because you know, I guess that's what Mercedes had at the time. But yeah, I mean, I think we're probably going to have to wait till 2021 for that to really come into effect.
And I think it'll also be interesting to see how then Sainz would match up essentially to Verstappen, because we know that Ricciardo is a little bit off in qualifying compared to Verstappen, and it's just going to be great to. I know comparisons sometimes are difficult when they're in the same car, but like it is a decent sort of to get the levels of where Verstappen is in comparison to Sainz, and you know, because they were very much rated quite similarly, and who was going to get the Red Bull drive, etc. But just quickly to touch finally on Vandoorne again. Obviously, I say that he's got a lot of stick, but he has to, in his stage of his career, at least have some standout performances where he outqualifies Alonso, gets into Q3, Alonso's out in Q1 or whatever. But it just hasn't happened. So for me, I don't think he deserves a seat next season. And I think another hot shot deserves that seat, Lando Norris. Nice. Good.
But it's going to be interesting actually, because not to keep dwelling on like who's going to be coming up through the ranks, but I think there was a point where we thought that there's going to potentially be a seat for George Russell, Jack Aitken, Lando Norris, like all these amazing F2 drivers, and now it looks like they might be waiting a little while.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like Toro Rosso is kind of this like, hey, open door here. Yeah. But again, like Lando's tied with McLaren.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack's tied with Renault. George is tied with Mercedes. So, I actually don't know.
Although there was talk about Lando going to Toro Rosso and there being a deal struck, wasn't there? I don't know if that's happening or not, hopefully. I don't know. But, it is interesting because they're almost getting to their stage of the career, these F2 drivers, that is at the wrong time, and then they're going to have more F2 drivers coming through, and there's going to be a bigger bunch of young talent.
The Red Bull Junior team is the perfect example of, and people have said it all the time, that the Red Bull Junior team is down to being there at the right time, because just think they were getting rid of people like Jean-Eric Vergne and Buemi, who were really good drivers. Da Costa didn't even get a chance in F1, and he was rated by everyone as being like the next big thing. And now they don't have anyone.
It's all timing,
that they've had to... Essentially, like, Hartley is going to keep his seat, likely.
Because
and he
Dan
was,
Ticktum
fired from the Red Bull Junior team and let's be honest, hasn't been particularly amazing.
No.
He's been unlucky, of course.
He's been a bit slower than Gasly. But, I mean, he hasn't been awful compared to Gasly, who's rated as quite a decent driver. But
even Helmut Marko, like, he's not hidden the fact that he wants to get rid of him. And now he doesn't really have an option.
Yes, okay, stay. Sure. I'm sure Brendan won't mind that too much.
No.
All right, let's move on from young driver talk to the pace of Ferrari in the race. At Amir_Hafaji, is Hamilton scared of Ferrari, and can Mercedes catch up Ferrari? Interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting little... it was interesting to see the buoyancy of the two drivers after the race.
That went down like an absolute, terribly.
One was buoyant and one was at the bottom of the ocean type thing. Like Vettel seemed very springy. I mean, I guess you would be on the back of a victory, especially when you've come from P2 and very decisively overtaken on the first lap and made it stick even when he got attacked at the safety car restart. He did come out saying that, the safety car restart did make him nervous, but then
Hamilton had nothing for him, did he?
Hamilton made a mistake at the restart. So again, there's that whole what if, like if he hadn't have made that restart, could he have got the slipstream? But I don't think he'd have been able to keep Vettel off at all.
The pace of that Ferrari, he would have got mugged down the Camel Straight.
Yeah, exactly. Which is again, like I guess goes back to your earlier point of like, would it maybe not having DRS would have made that kind of less of an easy maneuver? And would have made, like, we might have had a proper battle on our hands with, Lewis defending and Vettel overtake or whatever it might have been. And it was...
I'd like to go really quickly into it. The Perez-Bottas one was a perfect example of that, where Bottas just breezed past him, and it wasn't that easy. But if that had lasted even 3 or 4 laps, we'd have had something. But just the fact that he could breeze past on the straight was a bit annoying.
Especially when the Force India was set up to be so quick on the straight. They had interviews before the race saying, we're quick on the straight. People are going to have a hard time like overtaking us. And it was just, see ya.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
But it's amazing that Ferrari are now... You almost never felt like it was ever going to happen that anyone would have a better engine than Mercedes. It just seemed like all these new rules and regulations perfectly suited. They've won all the titles since it has been introduced. And now, I mean, Vettel... Hamilton just didn't have an answer for him.
No.
Did you see Hamilton looking at Vettel's car in Parc Fermé as well? Like having a good old look, like what's going on here? And then he alluded to tricks.
Yeah, which is great link in there, Jess. At MCR author, will Hamilton ever lose without a subtle reference to tricks or potential cheating? I don't think he actually does that often. He's not that bad. I mean, he is down in the dumps usually when he gets beaten, but he doesn't usually allude to tricks or... it's usually them that have the party mode, etc. So,
and he did come out saying like, we also have our party tricks. But I'm just saying what he was saying is
that they've got something extra.
Ferrari, because they brought all their upgrades to this Grand Prix, and it was like, sorry, Ferrari's got one better.
The second time in terms of like well known that because after the crashes, he said something about it's interesting tactics from Ferrari, and that kind of got blown out of proportion.
I think it was the same with this.
While I think that is just a reference. I think because of what he said earlier, people are going to jump on it.
I was like, don't sneeze. Sorry, carry on.
People are going to jump on it because of the fact that he said that earlier in the season, that they're immediately going, you can't take it when you lose.
And I think it was completely taken out of context because he was saying they have tricks, but that doesn't mean they're cheating. It just means they've done something different to us. From my personal opinion anyway. I mean, Hamilton said after the race, this was his quote, they, Ferrari, have got a few trick things going on in the car, so we have got to keep pushing. Obviously, it kind of maybe alludes to the fact that there's something going on there, but Like that's just, it's all up to personal opinion.
And that's F1. Like the teams, of course, are going to push the limits of the regulations as far as they possibly can. And Mercedes have been not guilty, because if you don't break regulations, then you don't break regulations.
Exactly.
But it's well within their rights to play with the rules and wait until the FIA decide to ban them. Like, I mean, we had everything like double diffusers and all that kind of thing like way back when, and it's just you push the boat out until you get your hand slapped and told you can't do that. So
I mean, Hamilton had a car for 3 years where he could completely lock up in qualifying and still finish second. So.
Although I do get people's points where obviously Vettel's usually say, Mercedes were better today, and then Hamilton will just allude to the fact that Ferrari is quicker rather than Vettel drove a great race.
That's true.
I couldn't fault him. It's always down to the car, and not Hamilton maybe made that mistake at the safety car restart. That was something he could have mentioned, saying I wasn't close enough after the safety car restart. It's just kind of giving off that more humble approach of, maybe I'm not perfect. And that's maybe where
But I think the difference might be that Hamilton isn't used to losing anymore. And I'm not saying like, well, he's having to get used to it.
Yeah. And he's not.
But Vettel hasn't been competitive for a long time.
Yeah.
The past 2 seasons, so this season and last season, has kind of been the first showing of that since his Red Bull days. So he's probably used to saying, "Oh yeah, the car just wasn't there," or he drove a better race than me, or whatever. So I mean, they're all drivers are going to be egotistical, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that level about you to be a good racing driver, arguably.
Apart from the start of the year, when I guess the thing is that Hamilton at the start of the year was all like, "Oh, I'm really glad Ferrari have catched up. It's really great for the sport." And then now it's like they've got tricks.
It's very true.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
they're all the same. They're all the same.
He's always going to say the wrong thing or rub someone up the wrong way. So, as long as he's like not being a huge whinge bag like he was in Canada.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, let him get over it. I mean, all of his posts afterwards have been like very much like, it was a tough day today, but thanks for all the support and kind of thing. So I think he tries to draw on the fans like when he's down, but he's always, I think, if he wasn't down after a race that he lost,
he wouldn't. People he doesn't care.
He wouldn't be a world champion, I don't think. Like,
all the best drivers are terrible losers. To be fair. Look at Alonso.
It was. Who's the famous quote from where it's like, to be second is the first to lose?
Senna,
Senna. I was going to say Senna, but then I was like, don't get that wrong. If
it might be
Jacques
Villeneuve.
To be second is the first to lose, and that is the mentality of a racing driver. So to ask Hamilton to be happy when he loses,
especially when he gets straight out of the car and there's a mic shoved in his face.
I hate the Parc Ferme interviews. Please take it back to the grandstand.
Interviewing Vettel after the race, you could tell he was kind of like, what happened in the race again? Oh yeah, no, that was it. Yeah, and it's just let them chill for a bit.
Any time to process.
Yeah, eavesdrop in the podium ceremony, which I like. The podium the cool down room. I love that. I'm just literally sat there like, please don't talk, Crofty. Stop talking, please. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
And because now they've given all their interviews and stuff away on Parc Ferme, they now don't really talk in the cool down room because it's the only chance they get to go. Right, that's over.
And you'd have a lot more of those Vettel Ocon type situations in the cool down room where something spicy gets said
in French.
Spicy.
Parlez-vous français?
Oui. Okay, let's move on to driver of the day now. Charles. Jess, you go first because I need to think.
Okay, I'm not going to go for a driver of the day.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm gonna go.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm not going to do it.
I was really thinking about it, and I was like, I could say.
I'm going to go for Yas moment of the week.
My Yas moment of the week. No. Well, actually, it goes back to my Yas moment. My team of the week is Force India.
Racing Point Force India, actually.
Sorry.
Racing Points Force India now. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, come
on. When I was thinking about like which driver, I was like, it's probably one of the Force India guys, but then I couldn't pick between either guy, and I think having gone through the weekend they went through, the summer that they went through, and to come in and put in the performance that they did, I think is just outstanding and bravo. I hope there's way more points to come. I hope both drivers are still in F1 next year. But that for me was kind of like the standout performance of the weekend.
Cool. So driver of the day, Jess.
No, I'm joking.
Lewis did a great job.
Definitely not Lewis Hamilton. No, I can't pick. I can't honestly can't pick one. The Force India guys are my drivers of the day.
Jess is ruining the show. Right.
You're ruining the show.
Okay, team of the week from now on. Okay, driver of the day, Tommy.
It was Vettel. It's a really boring thing, but Vettel. But everyone voted Bottas. Why?
Did they? No, I thought Vettel got driver of the day.
Everyone was complaining that it should
Vettel
have
got
been
driver of
Bottas.
the day, but Bottas there was a lot of complaints. I guess it must have been quite close between
What?
Bottas and Vettel.
I'm sorry. What race were people watching?
Exactly. What Bottas? The fact that Bottas
Yes.
might have got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
he
just easy
crashed
DRS.
into someone and then has a far superior car. Like if he hadn't have finished fourth,
It would have been terrible.
it would have been terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great drive. Cool. Good job. Bottas, you did well. You drove through the field. You literally drove past people on the straight.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
We should probably, before all the Verstappen fans get really angry, we should probably just say, unless he was going to be your driver of the day, I'm guessing not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, but Max was on his own for the entire race.
He was anonymous, really, which is unusual for him.
Yeah.
Because he's normally.
I mean, great
doing
job
something
getting back
amazing
into
or-
third. Like, I think he did a really good job getting back into third, but then he was just kind of like, there was like 25 seconds in front and 25 seconds behind for the
Must have been boring.
whole race.
He has seemed to have just turned his season around and just become a point scoring
Right,
decent
fanboy.
driver.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love Max. Oh, yeah. Okay, for me, I'm going to go driver of the day is Sergio Perez. Okay, driver of the weekend, Sergio Perez. Because, I mean, you change it, I'll change it. Purely because he avoided that huge crash through Radion. Where that could have been his weekend over, but he saved that on dry tyres, which, my goodness me. And then beat Ocon, unfortunately, off the line and finished in a great P5. So, P5? P4? P5?
P5, he
P5,
almost got
Bottas,
Bottas.
yeah.
If it wasn't for
Yeah, I
Bottas.
think he
Yeah,
drove
P5.
really well, and the Force India guys in general were awesome. So, I'm going to give Perez driver of the day / weekend.
You're
So,
better than me at picking. I can't pick
Yeah,
between
I
them.
can't choose. I was like, Perez
It's
beat
good
him,
job
so
you're not
fair
the
enough.
boss of Force India next year. Like, we've got Stroll and
Money. Okay, all right.
Money or money?
Yeah. Predictions for Monza. We didn't have time to do a mid-season podcast for our predictions last time.
Oh, can we
Yeah,
go? Do we have our
maybe.
predictions there from the? Did anybody get anything right?
No,
Matt
I
said
said
that
that-
Ricciardo would sign for Red Bull again.
Yeah, I said
Wrong.
he'd re-sign. So that bit was right. Not re-sign, actually. No, even that bit's wrong. Yes, I was wrong. I can't remember what the other two were. You said something about getting engaged. Someone was getting engaged,
Will Buxton got engaged.
but not a driver.
Not a
Sorry.
driver.
Wrong.
Any you said? What did you say?
I said that Kimi would resign and he didn't.
And he hasn't yet.
And I'm going to pick that one again.
Okay, so predictions for Monza. Let's go for 3 random predictions each that will happen during the race weekend of the Italian Grand Prix. So Tommy, you
While
already have
I'm
one.
on there, Kimi will resign this time.
Mhm.
I should have thought about it because it's the Italian Grand Prix and Ferrari. They will announce it this week.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah. Why
The
not?
home Grand Prix.
Okay, so that's one.
Now, Jess, while I think of another
Okay,
two.
yeah, we'll do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Oh, what's gonna happen? I don't know. Every single car will go through the first chicane runoff area. Every single car. At some point over
I
the
thought
weekend.
you meant on lap
I
1. I
thought
was
on lap
like,
one.
No.
they've changed the track layout.
No. At some point.
Okay, well,
That's
good
great.
luck counting that. You'll be like, yes, yes.
Yeah. Someone can
not?
keep a track of that. That'd be great.
Okay, so watch FB1, FB2, FB3 qualifying on the race.
Mhm.
Okay, Jess, you look out for that. My first one will be that Kimi Raikkonen will win the Italian Grand Prix.
Wow.
Gets re-signed, bit of extra oomph, wins the race. Everyone's like, oh my god, Kimi's back.
Another one will be that despite everyone praising the halo and safety, everyone will moan about the Parabolica having too much runoff area.
Okay.
Are we still going?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! Now I have to think of more things.
Just anything, any crazy or non-crazy.
Hamilton will get booed on the podium. That's not really
That's
crazy.
a
It's pretty
given.
obvious, isn't
That's
it?
an absolute given. Like,
Prediction, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so
Back
not
to
sure. I'm going to go with Romain Grosjean will finish P5.
Grosjean.
Force India on the podium. There you go.
Wow.
And it's probably going to be Perez because it's usually Perez on the podium if
Yeah,
anything crazy
he-
happens.
They just
That's
won't run
right.
a rear wing. They'll just be so quick on the straight.
Yeah.
Was it Ricciardo when Ricciardo had his damage and he just had the little, like, it looked like a
Yeah,
T-wing?
yeah.
That would be their
Fair
setup.
play for them for changing that though. I thought he'd be out the race after seeing a rear wing. Usually a rear
Yeah.
wing's off. They're like, nah, sack it off.
No.
But they carried on. Jess, we need one more from you and one more from me.
I don't want to think of another one.
Hamilton will complain about tricks again. There you go.
Vettel
One more for
dominates.
Jess. Anything off the top of your head. That's usually the most interesting.
I genuinely, it's too early in the morning and I can't
Hamilton
think of anything.
instant meltdown after. No,
Well, that's
he'll-
like every single
Hamilton gets
week.
beaten by Bottas, finishes P4. and
Okay,
then instant
how
meltdown.
about he gets booed and then he does about 10 Instagram stories about how it wasn't fair and how he's really happy about his fans and supporting him through everything.
There you go. Cool.
Thanks,
Awesome.
I've made one for
Well
you,
done.
there you
Thanks,
go.
Tommy.
Nice.
I've
So-
saved you there.
That's why he's the founder.
the founder. And that's it. Well, we're done.
Yeah.
It's really warm in here still. We need to get aircon, just to make it a little bit more snazzy.
No, we're moving
great.
soon.
Yeah, transitional phase.
Yeah, we need more sponsors like Yas Marina
Yeah.
Circuit to help
Thanks,
us
Yas.
get out of the cupboard.
So make sure to put in your Yas moment in the comment. Kills me every time.
It's
Sorry.
Yas.
Queen. Moment in the comments.
That's being sampled.
Oh no. Yeah, so make sure you put your favourite moment or your Yas moment in the comment section below, as well as liking the video, and you could be in with a chance of winning 2 tickets to the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
And we can't enter. Sorry.
Oh.
No, we're not allowed.
Sorry. Well, hopefully we'll be there anyway. So maybe we'll see you out there. Cool. All right, that's it. Goodbye.
Good to be
Thanks.
back.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. I kind of said that to you guys. That was a bit weird.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for listening. For audio listeners, audio listeners, if you want to take part in this competition, you'll have to go over to YouTube, watch the video. Don't have to watch it, but like it, comment it, and that's the way you do it.
The link will be in the audio
The
description.
link will be in the audio description. Done.
You can
Done.
give us a review if you want while you're there.
Oh yeah, do
Give us a review and give us another review on YouTube. Maybe you've never seen us in real life. Maybe you're just. Oh my god! Imagine that they haven't seen us before, and then like, oh,
Anonymous.
God.
They're probably going to be in for a shock.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well.
I'm actually a man.
Breaking news.
Bombshell. The thumbnail.
That's the
We've got
title.
the thumbnail again.
Great.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.